2018 was another really busy year in the police department. The year started off in like a flurry of activity with the Super Bowl, and Bloomington played a major role because the teams that were playing in the Super Bowl, they both stayed at the hotels at the Mall of America. That is the JW Marriott and the Radisson Blu, and the entire media for the Super Bowl, they spent the majority of the week at the Mall of America at what was called Radio Row. The week went by without a hitch. It was a great success from a security standpoint. I think the Mall of America was very happy with how it went. The teams that stayed at the hotels gave us feedback that went really well. Our staff did a great job in interacting with really people from all over the world. So that's how the year started. We quickly then changed to working on a few really important projects. One of them is what we call a crisis intervention training, and we're developing a program, and we spent a large portion of the year kind of looking at and analyzing our data. How many times we're responding to calls where people are in crisis. And we found that from 2014 to 2017, we've nearly doubled our calls to people in crisis. That is, in 2014, we had about 750 calls for service. 2017 had escalated to almost 1,400 calls. And so we are in the process of putting together a program to launch in 2019 where we will be working on an embedded social worker. This is a partnership with Hennepin County Health and Human Services, and they recognize the need for this. And really what we're trying to do is really, first of all, stop the increase in these calls, but see if we can't work in a partnership with the social worker to really decrease the number of times that people go into crisis and are in need of police services or a 911 call. One of the biggest successes from 2018 is we saw for the 5th year in a row another decrease in Part 1 crime. I'm happy to report that Part 1 crime is serious crime. It includes categories of rape, homicide, robbery, aggravated assault, auto theft, arson, theft, and burglary. And we are proud to report that for the 5th year in a row we've seen a decrease. How our police department engages with the community really puts the relationship at a position where people are much more willing to call the police when they see suspicious behavior, and our officers are there oftentimes before a crime is even committed. 2019 is going to be another busy year. We're excited about a whole bunch of projects that we have scheduled to work on, but probably the biggest one, and the one that might be most interesting to the public, is that we are going to implement the use of body cameras. We've been working on this project for a little while. We demoed 3 different vendors last year. We were able to work with the community and several groups to develop a policy on how these cameras will be used. And so we are now ready and have taken delivery of 130 Axon body cameras, and we will begin the process of training our officers on how to use them and issuing these officers in the next probably 30 to 60 days. And so the community will probably start to see these cameras sometime by the end of March or early April. And eventually every sworn officer and some of our non-sworn community service officers and animal control officers will all be wearing a body camera. And anytime they're on a call for service, the body cameras will be utilized, and we just think that that's a next step for a 21st century law enforcement department, because that's just kind of the direction that law enforcement is going. And from a transparency standpoint, we don't have anything to hide, and we just want to make sure that we capture this data so that our officers are able to use it for evidentiary purposes and for a variety of different reasons, maybe even some training to help us learn how we can improve what we do here at the Bloomington Police Department.